You want me to put that on my tudger?
The Duchess Diaries. According to Claire Anderson of The Express, Harry's wife has card up her sleeve. No, she hasn't purloined somebody's black Amex and is going off on a spending spree, buying more aberrations in the fashion world, such as Kermit Goes to Church, One of Our Jowers is Missing, Fridge by Valentino, Zebra Crossing by Grift, Tent by Army Surplus, The Bouncing Berry of Harlem, Chairman Mao Does New York, Overripe Burst Tomato Lady, Teacup by Royal Doulton. No, she hasn't gone and done that. Apparently, it relates to a potential memoir, if the latest Netflix project flops. Harry's wife could look to write her own memoir if her newest project for Netflix turns into a flop. The Duchess of Sussex hinted at the release of her Duchess Diaries after revealing that she came across the forgotten journal at Frogmore Cottage in June 2022, according to royal commentator Kinsey Schofield. Harry's wife said, "You go back and you open drawers and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I was writing in my journal there." Can you imagine finding that journal and opening it? Did roast chicken with Haz. Gosh, he's such a thicko, but so easy to control when I shove my tongue in his nether regions. Turns the page. Think I can milk it for a bit more dough from Prince Charles. I'm sure he fancies me, so if I give him the glad eye, he's bound to bung a few more million my way. Turn over the page. Bumped into Andrew in one of the corridors. We pretended we didn't know one another, although he did go "keeper east" as I walked by. I think that's a nautical term. He's such a scoundrel. Turns another page. Saw Catherine. She looked gorgeous as ever. How I hate this woman. I must find a way of ensuring that everybody loves me and not her. Perhaps if I marry William instead, that will work. You can imagine, can't you, the asinine observations writ large with envy and jealousy. Schofield claimed the royal could publish the diary if her plan to produce a romance film with Prince Harry on Netflix is not a success. Notice that already the suggestion is being made that she'll find something else to fall back on. And the reason being is most people expect that there will indeed be a clusterfuck in relation to this film. Kinsey Schofield told Talk TV, Harry's wife specifically told us that she stumbled upon her diary in Frogmore Cottage, one of the last times she was there. I do think that's kind of a card she's got up her sleeves, that if worse comes to worst, she could reveal her Duchess Diaries. I thought that too, that if Netflix did say to them, look, you haven't performed to the extent we expected with the amount of cash we gave you, Harry and Harry's wife might have to front some stuff just to keep Netflix interested. The expiration on that deal isn't until 2025, so we'll have to see what these new projects do for Netflix. The 42-year-old has kept her lips sealed. That's unusual for her. Normally they're wide open. Since the sensational publication on Prince Harry's memoir in January. Royal author Christopher Anderson believes the Duchess will take advantage of her current standing after the royal couple have received months of criticism. He told Us Weekly, "We've seen her perspective with some examples, but I'm sure there's always another rabbit to pull out of the hat, some fact that we didn't know to put in a book. I'm sure if she wanted to write a book, it would be an enormous bestseller because once again it would contain things we don't know yet. Yeah, fucking made up things. I would imagine that it's probably not in the distant future. I think they're going to take advantage of where they are, and she will do something like that." Well, it is inescapable that Harry's wife will write some kind of memoir. Why? First of all, it allows her to control people, because in her world, she'll be telling her story, her truth. Secondly, and not far behind, ka-ching, money. She will unfortunately be paid a large amount of money for it because there'll be quite a large appetite for reading it. Not because people are actually interested in her. They're interested in the nonsense that she spouts so that they can spend hours discussing it in forums, talking about it in comments, and indeed providing material for people such as me to analyse it, in my case through the prism of her narcissism. Therefore, there will be an appetite for it, but not because anybody really particularly likes her. There will be a small number of people that do, but a lot of people would be, well, I'm not going to buy it, I'll wait for the likes of Tudor to talk about it. And others will think, no, I want to read it because I want to see what ridiculous lies she comes out with, what ridiculous comments that she advances in order to pick them apart, in order to demonstrate what a liar she is. And of course, all she'll do is generate quite a lot of money for herself, quite a lot of fuel by virtue of people's reactions to it all. But then there'll be the usual case of the collateral consequences. She can't help herself but tell lies. As a mid-range narcissist, her narcissism isn't evolved to the level whereby she can tell complex lies and keep them straight. She operates moment to moment on an ad hoc basis, and all that would happen with a memoir is that she would then tell more lies. And people would then go on a fact-finding mission and prove this isn't correct because, and here's the evidence, this is incorrect because, here's the evidence. It would get torn apart. Of course, she would reject all of that. Her narcissism would protect her. She would say, they're the liars, not her. They're the ones that have made it up. They're just doing that because they're haters, racists, bigots, etc. So she will succeed with her memoir to the extent that she'll get a lot of money for it. She'll get a lot of fuel by virtue of people's responses, and it will enable her to control. Thereafter, of course, it will lead to the collateral consequence as I have described. But it is interesting to see already that the prospects of the film from Netflix, either seeing the light of day or, if doing so, being successful, are already being viewed as low. Reason being, the uselessness of Harry's wife. Instead, it's looking to an alternative. She hasn't done this yet because she does indeed need to keep the memoir up her sleeve and try other things first. But it will come at some point. It will come, and there'll probably be several volumes of it as she attempts to eke it out as much as she can. It'll be full of victimhood. It'll be full of smearing. It'll be also likely to do down Harry, and part of the weighting may well be in the case of the fact that her narcissism deems that it is not appropriate for her to release it yet until such time as he's been kicked to the curb. You can imagine there'll be a book all about her early life, her recollections there, which will make her seem like she was an absolute superstar and will probably contradict all of the other things that she said previously about her upbringing and life before she became known through the royal family. We'll have a load of guff about Suits and the TIG, a lot of things that we've heard all before, but it will all be embellished to make her look even better. Then there'll be the victim stage of how she tried to make it work with the royal family, that she offered all of these ideas, but the Queen headbutted her and told her to fuck off, that the Princess Royal would regularly chase her down the corridors like a crazed Zulu warrior, trying to stick a spear in her. All manner of fantastical, nonsensical revelations that'll have people spluttering as they spurt their tea out. And then it'll move on to the relationship with Harry, and then talk about the children, and then how it all went wrong with Harry and how she's a survivor of his abuse, etc., etc., etc. Those are my predictions in relation to the memoir, which inevitably will appear. The Duchess Diaries will be a snore, it'll be full of lies, but it will provide us with a huge amount of entertaining material to decipher vis-à-vis her narcissism. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.